Hello everyone and welcome back to Mr. Miller's Art Room. Today we are going to be talking about symmetrical shape art cards. We're going to be using a 4.5 inch by 6 inch art card. I'm using white right now, but you can actually use a variety of different colors. I'm also going to be using a black backing paper, which is the same size as the color paper that we're going to be utilizing. We're also going to need to use a crayon to draw our lines and a set of scissors to cut the shape out. The first step, however, before we make our art card is talking about symmetry.
Mr. Miller, what is symmetry?
Excellent question, Mr. Monocle. Symmetry is when two sides of a shape look exactly the same. So, for instance, let's say I've got this little post-it note right here. Well, this post-it note is the shape... Well, let me ask. What kind of a shape is a post-it note, Mr. Monocle?
Well, I'd say it's a square.
That is correct. It is a square. And because it's a square, it's a geometric shape. Now, not all geometric shapes are symmetrical, but most of them are. And let me show you what this means. That means that if I were to divide this in half just once, that it would be symmetrical, the same on both sides, on side 1 and side 2. Interestingly enough, the square is also symmetrical on the opposite sides, so side 1 and 2, and from this side to this side. So basically it's quadrilaterally.
Quadrilateral? What does that mean?
Quad means 4, lateral means lines. So in 4 different lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, it's the same on each side. In fact, actually, you could say that this is symmetrical in a lot of different ways, and I can show you by folding them. So we can fold this in this direction, and it's symmetrical in this fashion. We can actually fold it in this way. Actually, let me do it this way. We can actually fold it in this direction, and it's symmetrical in that fashion. We can actually fold it diagonally as well, and it's symmetrical in this direction. This is actually symmetrical in a lot of different sides.
So what does this mean for our project, Mr. Miller?
What this means is that we're going to create several different symmetrical shapes on one piece of paper, but there's a special way to do it. We need to fold this paper in half. So what we're going to do is first take one of our fingers and press down. Then we're going to reach up and grab this paper and fold it over. We need corner to corner, edge to edge.
Corner to corner, edge to edge.
That's correct. And once you get it where you want it, press down with your thumbs, take your fingers in a triangle, and you can press this down. We're only going to fold this just once. That's all we need. Now let's view what we've got. We have this folded piece of paper, the corners match and the edges match. It's the same on each side. What we're also going to notice is that it looks like an arrow. Now what we want to do is actually, in order to do this properly, we need to find the crease.
What is a crease, Mr. Miller?
A crease, Mr. Monocle, is when you make the fold in a piece of paper permanent.
Like we just did here.
That's correct. We press this down, and now this fold, no matter what we do to the paper, will always be there. Even if we pull it out flat like that, you'll always see that
crease.
So we'll always see the crease. We need that crease to point at us. So what we're going to do is turn it so it's pointing at us. Then we're going to set it down. That crease should be pointing at us, and the paper might lift up a little bit. So that way we'll know. The next step is going to be to draw a shape. Now the shape that we're going to draw is going to be very basic at the very start. We're going to draw a triangle.
Why a triangle, Mr. Miller?
Well, a triangle is the simplest shape to cut out. So what we'll do is we'll put a triangle right about the center. Now here's the important thing about how we're going to do this. We need to make sure that the shape starts and stops on the crease, and that it does not touch any of the sides on 1, 2, 3 sides. We also want to make sure that our crease is pointing at us because we don't want to cut it on this side, otherwise we're not going to get the effect that we want.
What effect is that?
let's make that a surprise. First, let's go ahead and draw our shape. I'm going to go ahead and I want to put a triangle here. I'm going to start right here. Notice I'm not touching the corner or the side. I'm going to draw a diagonal line because that's the start of drawing a triangle. Then I'm going to draw a diagonal line down. I didn't touch the top, the side, or the corners. Now we need to cut it out. When we're cutting, we want to make sure our thumb goes in the small hole and our fingers go in, the other fingers go in the larger hole. The scissors are always pointing away from us, not toward us. And whenever we need to turn a curve or change an angle, we don't turn our wrist right here, we turn the paper.
Why is that, Mr. Miller?
Well, Mr. Monocle, it's because our wrist only has a certain level of movement in it. It can only go so far. But we can turn the paper with our hand almost 360 degrees. Open it up nice and wide. Line the line up with the scissor blade and chomp, 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 chomp. Don't go past that line. Chomp. Now, triangle's easy because we can pull this out, turn this around, put this in, and chomp, 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 and chomp. Now, we've got two different pieces. We'll need a glue stick next, and we'll need our black backing paper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick this up and put this right here just to make sure it's about where I want to put it. Now that looks great. Now, what are we going to do with this extra shape? We're going to use this. So don't throw this away. Set it aside. I am going to take my glue, fold this around, open it up. Don't pull it all the way out like that. I don't want to see any of that. Don't smash the glue down. We just need 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't take a lot of time to put this down because this glue wants to dry as soon as you put it down. Then aim it. Gently place it. If it's not exactly where you want it, you can wiggle it around as long as you don't smash it down. Get it to where you like it, and then you can smooth it out. Now, that looks pretty good to me, but what are we going to do with this extra piece? Well, if my piece is right here, generally in the middle, what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this card over. I'm going to flip this piece over, and I'm going to put it in generally the same area.
How do you know how to do that?
Well, you know, Mr. Monocle, I'm just going to do my best guess. Now, is this the center?
Well, it's the center, but it's not at the top. It should be in the middle.
So, right about here?
Yes.
So then I'm going to trust you, Mr. Monocle. I'm going to put that right there and smash that down. Now, that looks pretty good. Now, this is what I call a level 1 art card. We've got one symmetrical shape cut out, but there's several levels after this. In order to go to the next level, we need at least 2 more shapes. And when we have the 2 other shapes, we want to make sure that not only are they not touching the sides and that they're only coming from the creased side, but they're not touching each other. If they touch each other...
What happens, Mr. Miller, if they touch each other?
Well, if I cut them out, the whole thing will fall apart. I cut them out. I open them up. I glue them down. Level 3. Boom. Level 4. Boom. Level 6 and above requires so many cuts that I can't put any lines on here. I just have to be that good at cutting to do it. For instance, here's a level 6. There's at least 6 cuts on here. And boom.
Well, Mr. Miller, this is quite a variety of cards.
Thank you very much, Mr. Monocle. I want you to go ahead and practice this on your own. Feel free to experiment, and if you mess up, it's no big deal. It's just paper. Plenty more where that came from. Thank you all very much, and have a great day.